Hey Spectrum, it's Natalie.
And Arik.
Back at it again for another edition of Noise News. You may recognize us from last year.
And this week, we're filling in for the anchors.
Thanks for tuning in. We had an eventful homecoming week last week, so let's get right into some announcements.
Reckless Driving Academy will be doing driver education classes in person at Spectrum from October 31st to November 11th from 2:45 to 5:45 p.m.
If you are at least 14 and a half years old and would like to join this class, please pick up a blue flyer outside the front office or connect with Mrs. Bondi.
And that's all for regular announcements. The Spectrum Student Council would also like to thank everyone for participating in the dress-up days.
And another huge congratulations to the homecoming court, starting with the freshman royalty, Corinne Mock and Logan Peterson.
The sophomores, Addison Kirkpatrick and Peter Kopp.
The juniors, Ariana Bechtold and Ethan Howe.
All the senior queen candidates, Morgan Alders, Grace Beck, Ron Shaw, Sage Benken, and Sydney McIntoon.
And the senior king candidates, Isaac Bankston, Matthew Burquest, Jairus Sorensen, Jameson Walknitz, and Asher Cook.
We all had a great time seeing them at Prep Fest in the football game.
Hey, speaking of football, let's hand it over to Teddy with sports.
Welcome back to Sports Spectrum. First off, our homecoming game was last week. Great job on the field, state football players. You really showed your talent at that game. Looking towards the future, tonight girls volleyball has home games here at 4:15, 5:30, and 7, while boys and girls soccer has games at the athletic complex at 5 and 7. On Wednesday, cross country has a meet at 4 at Gales Woods. On Thursday, girls and boys soccer has games at the athletic complex at 5 and 7, and girls volleyball has games in the high school gym at 5:30 and 7. On Friday, girls varsity volleyball has a tournament at St. Michael, Albertville High School at 5. Varsity football has a game at St. Croix Academy at 7. And over the weekend, the girls varsity volleyball will continue on Saturday at 9 a.m. That's it for sports this week. Back to you, Natalie and Arik.
Thanks, Teddy.
I just love how involved Spectrum students are in sports and other activities.
Me too, but I think it's more than just students getting involved in sports. Some of our teachers at Spectrum are also involved in athletics.
Why don't we send it off to Natalie, JD, and Izzy to learn a little bit more about how coaches balance their teaching and coaching lives.
Teachers can be seen sharing their wisdom within our classrooms, but for some teachers, their teaching skills are used on the court, field, or course as well. Each coach balancing their teaching and coaching in their own way.
You just allocate time of your day. There's teaching time, which is 7 to 3, and then sports is after school.
So just like any student in a sport, I just have to make sure I prioritize my time, that I figure out what I have to get done and how much time I need to get it done.
I really try to use my time at school to do my school stuff, and then only work on sports when I'm done with that. And then when I go home after sports, that's family time, and then on my school time. Just try to keep my categories separate.
It's pretty easy in the summer because it's teachers having off, but during the school year it gets a little bit harder where you're at school basically from 6 in the morning or 6:30 in the morning till 7 at night. So it gets tough during those 3 months, but it's worth it.
But what exactly made these dedicated coaches decide to give up their free time and teach kids sports?
My dad was a coach, and I grew up around football and spending time with the guys when I was little. So you kind of do what you know.
And then as my children grew up, I worked with them and a lot of their friends, taught them how to golf, and I went, oh, I could probably do this.
Got to know the head coach of the dance team, Melanie. She worked at the 7 and 8 building when I was working there, so I got to know her, and she said she needed an assistant coach. She had no idea I had a dance background at all, and so I hesitantly told her because I knew she'd really want me to coach with her, and I didn't know if that's what I wanted to do, but I agreed to it, and I'm so glad I did.
For some coaches, the sport is also what brings them back year after year, along with fond memories of their own athlete days.
When we went to, when I was a junior, we won state. Seeing that we were a small town, we beat the big bad guys from the cities, and it was a real special time, and I want the kids that I coach to kind of have that feeling too.
And for Spectrum, each coach has a good memory of their teams and their successes.
Favorite memory this year probably was Tanner coming back for his first game back after his off season of going through cancer, and seeing him out on the field, and really that was a real special moment for him and for me as his coach and as his dad, seeing him play the game that he loves.
If I were to say one, it would be our first victory at Spectrum, the first one we've ever won. we won the game in overtime on a QB sneak, and it was first win for Spectrum. And yeah, that was a fun memory. That was in 2013.
In the end, coaching is a tough job, especially when a teacher, but it's worth it for the good times and the skills taught. This has been Izzy, JD, and Natalie, Noise News.
Thanks, team. It's always interesting to hear about ways our teachers are involved in our school besides the classrooms.
Hey, Natalie, did you know that injuries in sports have been higher than usual lately?
I didn't. That sounds dangerous. Let's go over to a story that you and Isaac did about injuries in sports.
Over the last 10 to 15 years, injuries in youth sports have dramatically increased. For example, shoulder and elbow injuries have increased by a collective 500%.
Injuries are always going to be a part of sports, football, especially with the contact.
Football is one of the most contact-based sports and commonly results in the most injuries. One example of this is Spectrum football player Jairus Sorensen.
Well, Jairus has been troubled by some joint issues. Like right now, he's got some stuff with his knees and his ankles.
So I've had a little tear in my iliopsoas, kind of by my groin and my hip, and then I had a slipped disc on the C4 plate in my neck.
An injury of even one player can affect the entire team.
I kept on getting pinched nerves and stuff like that, so it was really hard to play football with that. So I had to sit out for a couple of weeks.
Usually the team rallies around and, someone has to step in and play for that player.
Any injury in any sport can be a game changer to the whole team, but there are always steps taken to prevent injuries.
Well, the equipment's always gotten better. Diet has been improved. We try to work on making sure that they eat right, stretching, and preparation for the game itself.
If a player does get injured, there are steps taken in order to keep the player safe and speed up recovery.
There should be a trainer around to help immediately if something goes wrong. So we have a great ice machine. The kids are doing a lot more icing and compression, which really helps alleviate any swelling that may occur and, in fact, prevents further injury.
Due to all the preventative measures taken, Spectrum sport injuries have actually contrasted the rise throughout the country.
We've worked really hard here at Spectrum to try to limit those, especially in the last 3 or 4 years. So overall, I'd say as a team, we've actually gone down the last few years.
Though injuries as an athlete can be daunting, Spectrum athletes can find comfort in the fact that safety is our #1 priority out in the playing field. This has been Arik and Isaac, Noise News.
Spectacular story, crew. I don't know about you, but I love a good sports story.
Me too. Well, to finish off our show today, we'll head it off to River, Josh, and Elijah to talk about the Senior Legacy Project.
Senior Capstone, a requirement for graduation and a chance to help your community here at Spectrum. Many of our juniors and seniors are working on their capstone projects and are partnering with various organizations to create their own legacy.
So my legacy project is I'm holding a family 5K walk/run. Basically, I've invited families to come and just walk around like a 5K course, or they also have the option to run it.
My legacy project was Crescent Cove, and it's a respite and hospice house for children who have shortened lives and special needs. It's basically a place where children can go and their families can kind of get a break while the child is in a safe environment surrounded by medical professionals.
My plan for my senior capstone project is to work with the Humane Society and foster cats.
Each person picks their own organization with a goal that is unique to them.
So I am donating the money to Angel Foundation, which is a financial assistance for families who are dealing with cancer. I chose my organization because when I was in 5th grade, my dad was diagnosed with cancer. And Angel Foundation was a financial assistance place that was offered to us if we needed the assistance.
I want to be able to rehome as many cats as I can because there's so many cats in the world and they all just need a home. And so I want to be able to either get tons of signs and tell everyone that there's cats up for adoption because I want to be able to rehome as many cats as possible.
I chose Crescent Cove because I want to work in healthcare, and I've really been passionate about children my whole life, and I especially feel bad for children with shortened lifespans, and I really want them to be able to enjoy the time that they do have.
When choosing an organization they love, there is always something to be learned.
The biggest thing that I've learned is that even if you do just a small act of service, you can make a big impact on the world. You don't have to be the one who's physically helping the child at Crescent Cove. You could literally be making dinner or cleaning up the house, and you're still making a really big difference in the kids' experience.
Just using the network of people around you. Through this, I've realized like how many people too are willing to help out, and so like use them to help, especially when they want to help.
Senior capstone is an important experience for learning and growing as a person. We wish everyone luck on their projects. This is River Walters, Josh Newhouse, and Elijah White.
Wow, what a super segment, team. Well, Spectrum, that's all the noise we have for you this week.
This has been Natalie.
And Auric.
Keeping you in on the noise. Okay, Marvel is better.
DC is better.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
The only
Fight
good
me.
DC character is Batman.